Hey guys, I've got a serious question for you all. Are we becoming too sensitive? Are we becoming too sensitive and too worried about what everyone thinks of us, what everyone has to say? I remember when I was younger, I was taught the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me." To what extent do words hurt? And to what extent do we need to take to prevent people from being offended? To what extent do people have to have a threshold to not be offended? If you're not understanding what I'm saying, let me kind of break it down what inspired this. So many of you probably know, you probably watch PewDiePie, but he recently has had ties severed with Disney and YouTube over a lot of things he and his subscribers consider jokes, but were misrepresented and taken out of context. These things are seriously affecting him. And while they may be very offensive things to some, it's the kind of humor the younger generation is kind of known for. Like, I'm not saying it's completely right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I know that you hear a lot of it nowadays. So it's not kind of out of the blue, like a blue moon type thing. It's kind of something that happens. It just leads me to question, are we becoming too sensitive? So specifically, he went on a website, he was testing boundaries. He had these two Indian guys hold up a sign that said "Death to all Jews," and had a guy who dresses as Jesus. He paid him to say Hitler did nothing wrong. I understand those videos may be offensive to people, but then newspapers took other videos out of context and used them against him, which I don't completely understand how that worked, which leads me to ask again, are we becoming too sensitive as human beings? Because there's no way you can censor everything. And compare TV in this kind of 10-year span compared to the last 10-year span. Let's say 1999 to 2009, 2010 to 2016 so far. Look at the cartoons we're showing. Look at the shows we're showing. Look at the TV stations we're showing. Look at all the approvals that have to get passed. Look at how YouTube takes away monetization if you're swearing in your videos, stuff like that. What point do we draw the line? What point do we quit desensitizing people? I feel like we shield children from so much at this point. When they go out into the real world, they're not going to have any idea what's out there. You can't control what happens in the streets. You can't control what's happening in another country. But instead of focusing attention towards those type of things, we want to focus attention on someone making jokes that you believe are anti-Semitic. Which this generation, just look at this generation. Look at the people that we are making famous. The Catch Me Outside girl. In what jurisdiction does she deserve 4.4 million followers? She went on a live show and disrespected her parent. If I did that, I'd be white by now. I would have had purely the blackness slapped out of me. So, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, are we going to be the failures? Are we just going to let everybody portray us as failures because of the things we do? The people that we support, look at the musicians, the talentless musicians that we're making famous. Not all of them. There are many good musicians, but we support some of the dumbest things and we find it so funny. And I guess I'm kind of getting off topic, if you would say, but I just don't understand it. Are we becoming too sensitive? Too blind to what's truly out there? Why are we going to focus on someone saying jokes about Jewish people, but we're going to ignore the things actually going on out there? We have so many more things that the news could be focusing on and that we could be focusing on than attacking someone because of their jokes. He did not mean them seriously. Everyone that's met the guy has said he's a wonderful person, in that they'd never believe him to be anti-Semitic. They really believe he's a Nazi. They really believe he was just watching videos of Hitler on his computer and he's just going to upload it for the world to see if he truly was. Let's just use our heads, guys, and just quit being so sensitive to stuff. There has to be a line drawn to where we have to suck it up. We cannot sensitize everything. It ruins things. No, we should not be exposing our children to straight violence and pure violence, but we should not be sensitizing everything, because that ruins it for adults and everyone else. We have to find a common balance between sensitization and violence, or sensitization and exposure. I don't know what word to use. It's just not really coming to mind at the moment. We're so shielded from what's truly going on. We're so supportive of the dumbest things possible. We only want to focus on the negatives. We never want to focus on the positives going on. Kind of a depressing thing to think about. When someone does something wrong, we completely forget about all the positives they've done. PewDiePie raises millions of dollars for people, but we only want to point out the negatives and how we believe he's anti-Semitic. Just take that into consideration the next time you judge a person or you get mad at someone. We completely forget all the positives and all the great things someone has done once they do one negative thing, one bad thing. And before we give them a chance to learn from it, we kinda just ruin it and ruin the situation and blow it out of proportion because they did one wrong thing. So before blowing your lid on someone, think about all the positive things that they have done and attempt to be a little bit more understanding. And this video is kind of swayed a long ways and it's kind of off topic, but it's just something that I felt I had to say something about. It doesn't really mean anything. My opinion probably doesn't really matter, but I just believe that we waste our time on so many stupid things when we could be focusing on something positive. Why don't we start putting positivity in the news instead of all the negativity? Why don't we quit talking about all the people being killed and the shooters and stuff and focus on the positivity? Because those shooters, they just want attention, and when we start giving them attention, that's what they want, and that's what keeps them striving strong. So just something to think about. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. See you guys later. A little small comment if you would enjoy. Peace out, homies.